Hey there, 8th graders. This is Mrs. Minowitz, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about mining. So as you can see on the screen, if you take a look, a picture of what we call the mineral baby. And this picture shows all of the different minerals that a person will need in their lifetime. Now, it might be directly used or indirectly used, like for buildings and things like that, but there's a lot of minerals that are needed by us to do many different things. So in order to get them out of the ground, we have to mine. There's another way to think about this as well. There's this paragraph here that talks about the different ways that you use minerals in your life, even on a daily basis, things you do in the morning, stuff like that. So you use minerals all the time, even if you're not necessarily aware of that. So the first thing that I want you to know about mining is that there are two different types of things that are mined for. The first ones are called gems, and if you think of the word gemstone, that would be accurate. So these are minerals that are prized for their beauty and their rarity. They're not commonly found. People think they're pretty. So there's some things that are mined for. Some examples of things would be like rubies, sapphires, emeralds. All of those types of things would be considered gems. They're mined because people want them, not necessarily that they use them for a different purpose. The other things that are mined for are called ores. So ores are minerals that contain a useful substance that can be mined for a profit. It has a use, so people mine it and they try to make money off of that because people need it. One of the most common ores, or the most common ore that's mined in Minnesota, is iron ore in the form of taconite that is used to then make steel. So that's a pretty common mineral that gets used to make steel. Now there are two types of mining that occur. The first one is called surface mining, and it's pretty straightforward, just like the name says. You're removing material at or near the Earth's surface, not digging deep into the ground. If you are digging deep into the ground, then we are talking about deep mining, where this would be like if you think of movies and they have people mining underground. This is what you're looking at. So this is the removal of minerals that are deep from within the earth. Now this is more common for other types, depending on where coal is found. Sometimes coal is deep mined, sometimes it's surface mined. You have things like diamond that is often a deep mined and not surface mined. Mining is really, really important. It gives us a lot of really important things that we need and we use all of the time. So it's very important that we know about it and you learn about it. But mining also has problems associated with it. Mining isn't always a good thing for the environment. So one of the things that happens or can happen with mining is destruction of habitats. So where animals, plants, people live gets destroyed because it's being dug up to get certain minerals out of the ground. Another problem is the pollution from the waste materials. Sometimes there are materials that are left behind or used or dug up that are also harmful to the environment and cause pollution. Things like arsenic and sulfur, depending on what type of mine you're looking at. Those can be a problem, and we're going to talk about the pros and cons of different types of mining, especially with a new type of mine that is potentially going to be happening in Minnesota, and we'll discuss that more in class. Now there are some things that can be done in order to make mining not as damaging to the environment, and one of those things is called reclamation. Reclamation is where after they're done mining in a location, they basically take what's left over that they didn't actually take out of the ground. Maybe they had to move it, but they didn't really want it. Is if they return all of that to where it originally was at, and you can kind of reclaim, that's why it's called reclamation, reclaim that land to be used. The problem is this doesn't always happen, and depending on the type of mine, this isn't always practical. Another solution, which is something that you can do as an 8th grader, is to recycle. When we recycle something, we don't have to dig more things out of the ground, more minerals out of the ground. So when that happens, it's better for the environment because obviously then we don't need as much, we don't have to mine as much. So this is really helpful with many different materials that we wouldn't necessarily need to have as much of if everyone were to recycle. So we'll be talking more about mining, the pros and cons, different types in class, and we'll be looking at some video clips as well. I hope that you learned something new about mining.